Good afternoon. I'm Ben Miser, the Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Division at the United States Department of Justice. We are here today to explain critical steps the federal government is taking to stem the tide of unlawful dietary supplements being sold to consumers nationwide. Almost every day, news sources on the internet, television, and in print feature stories about the dangers of dietary supplements. A supplement is laced with an undeclared pharmaceutical ingredient. A study is released about adverse health effects of a so-called natural remedy. An athlete or a member of the military falls ill after taking an untested energy product. These stories arise across the country all too often. Consumers turn to supplements when they want to lose weight, get an edge in athletic performance, or improve their overall well-being. From California to Maine, consumers ingest pills, powders, and liquids every day, not knowing whether they are wasting money or whether they may end up harming rather than helping themselves. Unfortunately, many of these products are not what they purport to be or cannot do what the distributors claim they can do. In some instances, consumers might be choosing supplements over other proven therapies for serious conditions under the mistaken belief that these products can help. I'm honored to be joined at the podium today by my colleagues from the Federal Trade Commission, the Food and Drug Administration, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, the Department of Defense, and the United States Anti-Doping Agency. Today, we are announcing a sweep of actions targeting unlawful dietary supplement makers and marketers. Over the past year, we have pursued civil and criminal cases against more than 100 makers and marketers of dietary supplements and similar products. A centerpiece of the sweep announced today is the indictment of Usp Labs relating to widely popular workout and weight loss supplements. Best-selling dietary supplements like Jacked, OxyElite Pro, and OxyElite Pro New Formula and Advanced Formula raked in hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. As alleged in the indictment unsealed today, the defendants were on a perpetual search for the next miracle ingredient. That search generally focused on Chinese chemical manufacturers. When they found an ingredient that they believed was promising, and knowing full well how the market for dietary supplements worked, they doctored packaging, labeling, and other paperwork to defraud others about what the product was. Much of the alleged fraud focused on the defendants' claims that their products were made from natural plant extracts. In truth, as one defendant put it, LOL, stuff is completely 100% synthetic. These fraudulent claims ensured that the synthetic chemicals entered the United States, got on store shelves, and were purchased by consumers. As alleged in the indictments, the defendant falsified paperwork to stay off the radar of regulatory agencies, both when the products crossed the border and as they circulated in commerce. They made misrepresentations to convince well-known retailers who had concerns about untested synthetic materials to sell their products. They falsified labeling and marketing materials to convince consumers who prized natural ingredients to buy their products. All of these people, regulators, retailers, and consumers, trusted that the defendants were telling the truth about their products. All of these people were deceived. This deception put lives at risk. The indictment describes the safety testing, or more accurately, the lack of safety testing, that the defendants undertook before hawking their factory-made supplements. For instance, the indictment alleges that the defendants sometimes tested the products on themselves and sold the ones that made them feel good. With one product, the defendants allegedly recognized that the substance could potentially cause liver toxicity, yet without conducting a single test to determine whether the substance was safe, they went ahead and sold it, working from the baseless assumption that they were not using enough of the toxic substance in their products to cause problems. But there were problems. There was an outbreak of liver injuries allegedly associated with the OxyElite Pro New Formula. Consumers experienced jaundice. Several needed transplants to save their lives. How did the defendants respond? As the indictment alleges, they promised the FDA and the public that they would stop distributing the product at issue, but they did not. Instead, they undertook a surreptitious all-hands-on-deck to sell as much of the product as they could. We are here today, in part, to take an important step in holding USP Labs accountable for its actions. The indictment unsealed today charges USP Labs in Texas, 4 of its executives, and 1 of its consultants with a series of crimes associated with the sale of dietary supplements. Charged with these defendants is SK Laboratories based in Southern California, which manufactured many of USP Labs' products, and 1 of SK Labs' executives. As noted, this is just one step. Whatever the outcome, I am confident that the dedicated men and women from the Department of Justice and the special agents from the FDA and IRS criminal investigation who have worked so hard to bring us to this point will ensure that justice is served. The allegations against USP Labs and its operators should serve as a wake-up call to the supplement industry. The unmistakable message is that the Department of Justice and its federal partners will be vigilant when it comes to the health and safety of the American public. Fighting illegal activity in the dietary supplement industry is a high priority of our consumer protection agenda. The USP Labs case announced today is only one of the many cases brought as part of the sweep that we are unveiling. Over the past year, law enforcement and regulatory officials have focused efforts on many additional products that cause high levels of concern among health officials nationwide. Many of the cases that we have brought relate to products that misrepresent the ingredients they contain. We have also brought cases involving products that make unsupported claims about their effects. In numerous matters, the defendants are selling products online through websites and touting their products to consumers for the cure, treatment, and prevention of diseases that range from cancer to Alzheimer's disease to herpes. Making these disease cure claims defines these products as drugs under the law. And even though they were warned by the FDA, and in some cases through joint letters with the FTC, to stop making such claims, a number of the individuals and companies at issue continued to make these claims and promote their products as treatments or cures for diseases. Yet these drugs lack substantial evidence of safety and effectiveness. They are also being sold without adequate directions for their use. Therefore, selling them in interstate commerce in these circumstances is illegal. The government is taking a multifaceted approach to combating the problems of unlawful dietary supplements. In addition to criminal actions, we are using civil and administrative tools to safeguard consumers from harmful products. As part of the sweep announced today, the Justice Department brought a dozen civil actions, including just 5 in the last week, under the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, and in some cases using the Civil Mail Fraud Injunction Statute, seeking to stop the defendant entities and individuals from violating the law. In these cases, we are asking the courts to order the defendants to stop their illegal conduct and to put in place processes and procedures to prevent them from violating the law in the future. Our partner agencies, including the FTC, the FDA, USPIS, DOD, and USADA, are taking other measures both to enforce the law and to educate the public. As I mentioned, I stand here in partnership with other agencies with whom we have joined forces to address this problem. Through enforcement and education, each agency is performing its own mission to protect consumers and service members and athletes from dangerous, ineffective products. You will hear more from my colleagues about the actions their agencies are taking. Together, through cooperation and teamwork, we can multiply the impact of our efforts. These efforts won't put an end to this widespread problem, but they will go some distance toward bringing change to the industry. We are not here to criticize the entire supplement marketplace. Not every supplement contains an undisclosed ingredient. Not every label lies about what is contained in the bottle. And not every claim about dietary supplements is unsupported by scientific evidence. But consumers must be on guard before taking dietary supplements. Oftentimes, it may be difficult or impossible to tell the conditions under which the supplements are manufactured, and it is challenging to sort through real scientific substantiation for a product as compared to unsupported hype. How can consumers perform their own due diligence? Talk to your healthcare provider. Ask the physician whether the bottle that you see on the store shelf or on the internet will cause you harm, or whether the money you are going to spend on it is worth it. Consult the public education materials provided by FTC, FDA, DOD, and USADA. The FDA's website, for example, includes tips for making informed decisions and evaluating dietary supplements, and the FTC's website also contains a wealth of information. The Department of Defense and USADA have developed extraordinary tools, including a cell phone app, to help consumers make informed choices about supplements. This is only the beginning. Thanks to the partnerships we've built, our efforts in this area will continue. We will keep investigating violators, and we will use all available tools at our disposal to advance our enforcement goals and to protect consumers. With that, I'd like to turn the podium over to my colleague, Deputy Commissioner for Global Regulatory Operations and Policy, Howard Sklamberg of the Food and Drug Administration.
Thank you. Dietary supplements are one of the most challenging areas that FDA regulates. This arena encompasses a vast array of products and has a complicated supply chain. We see a number of serious issues with dietary supplements and products falsely marketed as dietary supplements, including companies not adhering to good manufacturing practices and products with hidden pharmaceutical ingredients, both of which have the potential to cause safety issues. We also find products making false claims that are in violation of our laws. Some examples include products that claim to treat serious diseases such as cancer or Alzheimer's. We find that a company using one name and one supply chain can change course the very next day, switch its name, and we're back to square one. But we take vigorous enforcement action. Recently, the FDA took action to prevent additional deaths from the use of pure powdered caffeine, a dangerous product that has already resulted in the known deaths of two young men. Indeed, during the past several years, we've issued hundreds of warning letters, worked with firms to voluntarily recall products, and pursued civil and criminal enforcement against persons marketing illegal products. In addition, the agency works with firms to achieve voluntary compliance, such as removing violative claims, destroying unsafe inventory, and ceasing distribution. We leverage resources across the agency, but still have to prioritize our efforts to maximize impact, focusing first on safety concerns. We're also working with our government partners, such as the Department of Justice, the Federal Trade Commission, states' attorneys general, and with members of industry who have a strong vested interest in seeing bad actors held accountable. Consumers should be mindful of scams in which products claim to prevent, treat, or cure diseases or other health conditions, but are not proven safe and effective for those uses. These health fraud scams lead to delays in getting proper diagnosis and treatment and waste money. And these scams can also cause serious or even fatal injuries. Today's joint agency effort is a testament to our commitment to protecting consumers from potentially unsafe dietary supplements. The criminal charges against USP Labs should serve as notice to industry that if your products are found to be severely harming public health, the FDA will exercise its full authority under the law to bring you to justice and to protect consumers. Thank you. And with that, I will introduce Acting Deputy Chief Inspector Gary Barksdale of the U.S. Postal Inspection Service.
Thank you. So as you said, my name is Gary Barksdale. I'm the Acting Deputy Chief for the United States Postal Inspection Service. And on Friday, as part of a nationwide sweep on dietary supplement marketers and marketers, Postal Inspectors executed federal search warrants in Arcata, Florida. Today, 2 additional search warrants were served in Hyannis, Massachusetts, and Los Angeles, California. At all 3 locations, Postal Inspectors seized evidence to support mail fraud charges and food and drug charges against the companies doing business as Vibrant Life, Veruxo, Optima Health, and Regenica Worldwide. Despite legitimate medical breakthroughs, scammers like the companies I just mentioned continue to peddle worthless pills, oils, and ointments, promising miracles and defrauding our Postal Service customers and the American public. It's the mission of the Postal Inspection Service to enforce the laws that defend the nation's mail system from illegal use. In the outlined scheme, victims lose their money by ordering a product that promises but doesn't deliver. Victims are also expecting certain health improvements by using the product, but their health suffers when none of the advertised claims actually work, and they can even pose health risks. Postal inspectors have a long history of effectively enforcing the mail fraud statute to halt scammers from using the mails to sell their wares to unsuspecting citizens. Working with our law enforcement partners and our regulatory partners, we hope to protect the American consumer by keeping these scams at bay through our multi-pronged approach of prevention, education, and prosecutive action. So with that, I'd like to turn the podium over to Acting Director Riley Dolan from the Federal Trade Commission.
Thank you very much. Again, my name is Riley Dolan, and I'm the Acting Deputy Director for the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection. I'd like to thank our colleagues at the Department of Justice and our other agencies for organizing and participating in this initiative. We are pleased to participate as part of the FTC's ongoing consumer protection mission to combat deceptive and unfair marketing practices in connection with dietary supplements. And as part of that, we are announcing 3 new actions, 1 complaint and 2 recent settlements, 20 warning letters to go along with 11 other cases the FTC has announced within the last year. According to the Nutrition Business Journal, Americans spend nearly $40 billion a year on dietary supplements. Many deliver what they promise, but unfortunately, some supplements are nothing more than 21st century snake oil. Disreputable companies are always on the prowl to capitalize on changes in demographics, new public health scares, and growing epidemics. Our law enforcement actions announced as part of this initiative reflect the false claims we've seen recently. Supplements marketing to an aging demographic to stop memory decline or graying hair. Weight loss pills targeting the growing percentage of people who are battling obesity, and even herbal remedies seeking to profit off an epidemic of opiate drug addiction. Today we filed a complaint in federal district court seeking a permanent injunction and other relief against Sunrise Nutraceuticals for its marketing of Alimidrol, a concoction of vitamins, minerals, and herbs purported to alleviate the terrible physical and mental symptoms of opiate withdrawal. Sunrise said Alimidrol allowed addicts to get and stay clean on the first try. But as alleged in the FTC's complaint, they didn't have the science to back up that claim. Still, they charged $75 a bottle for the product. The company targeted vulnerable consumers who were trying to get clean, using moving testimonials from addicts who claimed that Alimidrol had saved their lives. We also are announcing recent settlements obtaining injunctive and monetary relief from a number of individuals and companies involved in 2 different weight loss scams. In the health nutrition matter, we settled with several defendants involved in a classic weight loss scam promising rapid, dramatic weight loss with bogus experts and fake scientific studies. The products were named Weight to Be Gone and Quick and Easy. In the second matter, in NPB, we reached a settlement with several companies and individuals who capitalized on the green coffee bean diet fad, a fad first touted on the Dr. Oz show. In this case, the FTC alleged the defendants launched the pure green coffee extract just weeks after the Dr. Oz segment aired, and alleged false weight loss claims in news stories posted on the web. Marketers must understand and comply with the basic requirements that claims must be truthful, accurate, and supported by solid science. The FTC will continue to be an active enforcement presence in the enormous dietary supplement marketplace for those who don't. We will prioritize cases that serially affect consumer health or safety or prey on vulnerable populations. However, law enforcement alone cannot solve this problem. If you're looking for a dietary supplement to improve your health, you're going to have to wade through an awful lot of misleading advertising. Be skeptical of ads for supplements that claim to cure diseases, reverse the signs of aging, cause weight loss without diet or exercise, or tout miracle cure or scientific breakthrough. Talk to your healthcare professional about supplements you're considering. And please visit ftc.gov/dietary supplements for the materials that were referenced earlier. And now I'd like to introduce Dr. David Smith, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Defense for Health Readiness and Policy Oversight.
Well, good afternoon. I'm here today representing the Department of Defense and more specifically the military health system. And many of you may be aware that the military health system is responsible for medical care for more than 9.5 million beneficiaries around the world, including active duty service members and their families, retirees, Reserve and National Guard beneficiaries. And I want to say that the DoD and the military health system is in full cooperation and support with the Department of Justice and their initiative to curb the use of unsafe dietary supplements. And ensuring the readiness of the force is one of the department's top goals. and unsafe dietary supplements are a threat to readiness in the DoD. Now, why do I say that? Well, more than 70% of active duty service members take some type of supplement. And we also know that 20% of those take performance-enhancing, bodybuilding, or weight loss supplements. Some dietary supplements, including some performance-enhancing and bodybuilding supplements, may be unsafe, according to the FDA. And our overall goal is to keep our servicemen fit to serve. And in December of 2011, Dr. Jonathan Woodson, my boss and the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Health Affairs, asked to have a DoD-wide initiative created to promote education in dietary supplements, which resulted in the development of a project called Operation Supplement Safety, or OPSS. And the Consortium of Health and Military Performance, CHAMP, at our medical school, the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences, leads OPSS. And the Operation Supplement Safety, or OPSS website, is our go-to resource in the DoD for information about dietary supplements. And since 2012, the OPSS team has developed many products to educate our service members, leaders, family members, providers, and retirees on how to choose supplements wisely. And CHAMP, this DoD Center of Excellence for Health and Military Performance, and the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency have also partnered since that time to develop additional educational resources for OPSS, or Operation Supplement Safety. And they released the OPSS high-risk supplement list in February of this year. And today, this partnership, along with funding from the U.S. Army Comprehensive Soldier and Family Fitness Program, and have produced two additional educational products that were being released today. One, an online interactive educational module called Get the Scoop on Supplements, and a mobile application that allows mobile downloading of our high-risk supplement list. And these new products are now available on the OPSS website to anyone that wants to access that. The DoD is proud to participate in the dietary supplement sweep alongside our federal agencies here today, and to address that issue of unlawful and potentially unsafe dietary supplement products being marketed to our service members and to our citizens. We applaud the team for taking on this clear public health issue for the nation. Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Amy Eckner, who is the Special Advisor on Drug and Supplements of the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency.
Hi, my name is Dr. Amy Eichner. I'm from the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, and I'm the Special Advisor on Drugs and Supplements. I am here on behalf of USADA and Clean Athletes to fully support the enforcement actions announced today. Elite athletes, but all athletes, including recreational level, youth athletes, masters athletes, even the kids on playing fields in your neighborhoods, are very heavily targeted by dietary supplement companies wanting to sell their products, especially sport and performance enhancing products. The actions announced today are a real win for clean athletes. We will continue working with the federal agencies to share information about risky products as we become aware of them. And we will also continue to directly educate U.S. athletes and the general public on the dangers of the dietary supplement industry and provide guidance on how people can choose safe supplements. We offer this education on our supplement411.org website, on which we also host the USADA Supplement 411 High Risk List. The High Risk List is a list of products that are known to contain or advertised to contain substances prohibited in sport. For those of you who are familiar with the World Anti-Doping Agency prohibited list, you will realize that nothing on that list has anything to do with nutrition. Those substances should not be in dietary supplements. I would also like to announce that we are also launching the Supplement 411 High Risk List application, similar to OPSS. So I invite anybody who would like to view that to visit the Apple Store. It will be available in Android in 2 weeks' time. I would also like to acknowledge our very important partnership with Uniformed Services University. Working together with that agency has strengthened all of our educational materials, and I can tell you this is just the beginning. Again, we fully support the agencies here and the actions that they've taken today. Thank you very much.
Questions?
Well, if there are no questions, then.
Thank you.